you've sort of anticipated some of my arguments, my questions about what your argument is going to be, but maybe let's backtrack a little bit and just to get at the scope of what you cover in the book. So talk through the chapter structure, perhaps. These are new issues. 10, 20 years ago, for example, US-China relations were largely about traditional bilateral issues. But today, so many more of the issues are these global issues, and that seems to be at the heart of your analysis. Can you kind of lay out the scope of what those issues are?
Sure thing. And I think it might also be helpful to say a little bit more about what kind of motivated me to write the book. And that was really another aspect of my background that you kindly mentioned, Peter, which is that I had the opportunity to spend some time at the U.S. Department of State working on the China desk, which is the office that handles U.S.-China relations. Formerly, it's called the Office of Chinese and Mongolian Affairs. No one seems to, be quite clear why that particular kind of juncture was made. But I had a portfolio or an area of responsibility called ESTH, Environment, Science, Technology, and Health. I have to tell you, and I'm sure many of you here will appreciate this, having come out of graduate school, which is, all about relentless specialization and subspecialization, and being told that, okay, you're going to cover environment, science, technology, and health. It seemed somewhere between laughable and maybe even a little dangerous to expect a single person to kind of keep track of that huge, enormous array of issues. But in the decade or so since I had that experience, I've actually come to think of that category as a pretty useful one. And indeed, even when I was at the State Department, which was in the second part of the Obama administration, I witnessed the U.S.-China relationship really be transformed by that set of issues: environment, science, technology, and health. The biggest and best example was U.S.-China engagement on climate change, especially around in the lead up to the Paris Agreement climate negotiations. But there were others, very successful example of a joint response to an Ebola outbreak in West Africa in 2014, 2015. And what I saw were these kind of newer and at the time viewed as much more kind of technical issue areas really increasingly become central to the relationship at large. And what I've seen since that time, over the last 7 years or so in particular, is that dynamic has also come to influence a lot of China's relationships with other countries, not just the United States, but that transition, in particular, the addition of a lot of technology-focused issues around, for example, China's involvement in artificial intelligence and other emerging technologies. That's been a source of considerable tension with other countries rather than common purpose, which, of course, was what we thought and hoped we were building around the Paris Agreement. And so what I really wanted to try to answer a little bit for myself in writing this book is both how and why these environmental, science, technology, and health issues have become a more important part of China's relationship with the world, and I would argue the most important part of its relationship with the world, but why we haven't seen that transition accompanied by greater cooperation. If anything, we've seen the precise opposite. We've seen an increase in rivalry, tension, geopolitical, economic, even ideological competition. And I really wanted to try to understand why that was the case. And of course, how we can try to make progress on these shared challenges, whether it's climate change or dealing with disruptive technologies like artificial intelligence, despite the emergence of competition, rivalry, and greater tension between China and many other countries, including many of those in Europe.